regular people just.
And we're live. So sorry, guys. I'm just cutting Dunk off mid-sentence here. We're just having a nice conversation about some of the online programming options. And you know what? This content was too good not to go live with. So this is a Part of My Jerk podcast. Dunk, go back to what you were saying. Sorry, buddy.
Man, it really caught me off guard because the computer started talking.
You were saying you understand the need for EMOMs. You understand the need for interval work and like the hitting the cardio machines, and then I cut you off. So please.
So like I get the need to do all that stuff. Like it gets you fitter. It's probably the best way to get you fitter. But it's like if you're going to the gym to enjoy yourself and then just get a good workout in, why not make the workouts more fun? Everybody likes doing 4-time workouts because everybody gets amped up to race, and like you can see where you finish, you can see where all your friends finish. So like why not do more of those as opposed to like just trying to get into the weeds of these like different types of programming, and 3 days of the week it's a boring workout with a 5-minute or a 20-minute EMOM, you know? Like save those for the elite athletes that are like actually training to like try and make some money and try and make the games, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, everything you said, I 100% agree with, and then some, because like, so there's like a lot of stuff to unpack there. So like the interval stuff and all that, it's exceptionally helpful at building overall fitness, but it's like, it's almost kind of taken away from it even being quote CrossFit anymore, because what you're doing, first of all, they're just fucking painfully boring when you do a lot of it, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other part of that is like the thing about the EMOMs and every 2 minutes. And that's if in a lot of instances, what you're seeing there is you're kind of robbing from like that magic pill that we have in CrossFit, and that's intensity, you know? And I'll tell you what, so I told you we had the idea to go back, and we've been redoing every regionals. We started this week with the 2011 regionals, right? So it kind of inspired me. I actually found something online. I dug way deep into the internet. And I found, I dug way deep into the internet, and I actually found all the workouts that they did in 2010 for sectionals and for regionals. Okay, and the 2011 regionals, obviously that. And the funny thing is, if you look back at them, most of them they look like workouts you would program in a standard affiliate, and they're thrown into the competition setting, right? And you want to look back and be like, oh, I've been doing CrossFit since 2011. Like I would probably smoke these guys. But if you go back and watch old videos of people doing like those classic CrossFit metabolic conditioning workouts, they're fucking fire breathers, man. Like they're fire breathers. The people that got into CrossFit a long time ago, if you just watch them doing like push-ups, burpees, box jumps, the simple shit in a Metcon, they just hammer that stuff. It's so impressive what they can do.
I have a thought on that. Back in 2011, people didn't know what a red line was. Like it was just go until you were dead on the floor, rolling around. Like it was just like people didn't care. Now everybody's like, I'm just gonna do my best and not worry about anybody else, and like I'm gonna be okay after this workout, but I'm gonna do my best. So it's just a different mindset that like these athletes have. Not saying that they don't go fast or anything like that, but you don't see that next level push that just leaves you rolling around on the ground.
The goal back then was general physical preparedness. And then the GPP got competitive, as it's supposed to, in like the original model of CrossFit. And then the competitive GPP turned into a sport. And then early on, the sport was just CrossFit workouts. Now the sport has evolved at the highest level. I'm not talking about local throwdowns. I'm talking about at semifinals in the games, where the sport is now not like I was just thinking about this today. Like I hesitate to even call it the CrossFit Games, because it's not so much the CrossFit Games as much as it is the fittest man, woman, and team on earth.
That's what they should just call it, fittest on earth.
Right, because it's like it's all CrossFit, right? Like doing I don't want to say it's not all CrossFit, but a lot of the events that you see in the games are not affiliate style workouts.
They're not things you can do.
And they're specialized, right? Like they're like, we want to see how good of a weightlifter you are. We want to see how good of a gymnast you are. We want to see how good of a strongman you are. We want to see how good of a triathlete you are and an endurance runner you are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, it is all CrossFit, but I'm saying is back then it was all couplets, triplets, chippers, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trail runs. So the programming has sort of evolved with a lot of these programming outlets that we were talking about off air, where it's like this sort of blend of competitive CrossFit and affiliate programming,
Mm-hmm.
where they've kind of taken this step back away from GPP.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like a lot of these affiliate, these programmers, you know, Hand Plan, Comp Train, Proven, Think Tank, whoever, like you wouldn't see them like throw into there like a Metcon with L-sits in it, or like a conditioning piece that involves long farmers carries, but that's stuff that you would see on .com.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't think I've ever done a Metcon with an L-sit in it. So.
We have. I've done them before. It depends. My focus sort of shifts throughout the year.
You have a thing for L-sits,
dude. It is the test of all tests of midline strength.
Man, there is not a lot of workouts or like movements where it's like, oh man, this is one that I think I might skip today. L-sit is one of them.
Yeah, they're hard to get good at too, without like a lot of like drills and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you weigh over 200 pounds and you're over 6 feet tall.
I check both of those boxes and then some.
Yeah, but like back to the conversation we were having, where it's like a lot of these, like, a lot of these competitive programming outlets I've used Deca Comp, like I've used Comp Train, and like a lot of them, in the interest of using like interval style training or competitive style training, they tend to rob some of the intensity, and that's the special pill that will get you better. Yeah. And not that you can do interval work at a high intensity if it's programmed correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but like sometimes I look at it and I'm like, you know, I was reading these workouts and like watching people train in 2009, 2010, 2011. We watched a lot of videos lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, this was like 10, 11, 12 years ago. And these guys are moving because their training was throw a bunch of stuff on the whiteboard, call it a 12-minute AMRAP. Let's just put our dicks in the dirt.
Right.
And they got really good at that.
You got to also think there wasn't a lot of people that were like highly skilled at anything back then either. So it was just like move as fast as you can. So I think that had something to do with it too. Like there wasn't a lot of people like just doing like ring muscle ups and deficit handstand push-ups in workouts back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. If
like
you go back to the old videos, people used to do handstand push-ups on parallettes, but not take their head to the floor. Like that's how they did strict handstand push-ups on parallettes, but the standard was like your head just had to meet the threshold of the parallette. There was some wild bit. The old days, man, were the Wild West. It was some wild shit out there.
I can't even imagine trying to do a handstand push-up like that on a parallette without my head going all the way to the ground.
That's how like Annie Sakamoto though got the ability to like just do 30 strict handstand push-ups unbroken. You know,
wild.
Dude, have you seen the original Nasty Girls video?
No.
Mm-mm. Dude, well, that is what pumping iron is to bodybuilding. Nasty Girls is to CrossFit.
Okay.
Like this was back, Jesus Christ, man. This had to have been back in 2005, I think 2005, somewhere around there. Like, and it was a video that was getting like circulated around. And like, I've heard like guys, like, I think it was Josh Bridges said, he's like, yeah, like I was like on a boat and someone gave me this video of these chicks doing this insane workout that I'd never seen before. So yeah, I think what is Nasty Girls, I think is 3 rounds for time, 50 air squats, 7 ring muscle ups, and 10 hang cleans. I think women's 135. maybe 95.
You got me, man. I have no idea.
Maybe I think it might be 95 for women. But anyway, it was like this revolutionary thing. We're talking about when you and I are in like the 9th or 10th grade. And
the
like
nasty girls is 3 rounds, 50 air squats, 7 muscle ups, 10 hang power cleans, 135, 95.
Yeah. No one had ever seen, besides watching the Olympics in the summer, no one had ever seen a grown woman doing ring muscle ups, man.
No. Yeah. Like when did that workout come out?
Like
mid 2000s,
something like that.
Yeah.
2006. It's on YouTube. And it's crazy. Like you watch them do these air squats. That was back in the day when people were doing air squats to a med ball.
Oh yeah.
And they're doing like these air squats. Like I'm like, oh my God, they're going so fast. It's Annie Sakamoto. It's oh my God, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. The woman who works for CrossFit now, she's a national fucking treasure. She's amazing. Nicole Carroll.
Okay.
And Ava, her last name's I think she's Polish. She's the woman that the workout Ava is named after. So all 3 of those women are who the benchmark. The workout Annie is named after Annie Sakamoto. The workout I can't remember. And the workout Nicole is named after Nicole Carroll. Original proteges of Coach Glassman.
Catching a CrossFit history lesson today.
Dude, Fire Breathers is a cool book. Or excuse me, Learning to Breathe Fires is a cool book. If you ever get a chance to get your hands on it.
Yeah, I've seen that book before. I haven't read it, but
I didn't get to finish it. I lost it. I lost it like on a flight. I read like the first half of it. And that if you're into like that kind of stuff, it's an outstanding book, like about the origins of CrossFit and like the early days and that kind of stuff. But that video, it's not, when you look at it now, it's not that impressive. But when you think about like the perspective, like the time period with which it was recorded,
yeah,
in the early 2000s, seeing a grown woman doing ring muscle ups and doing hang cleans in a gym and then doing air squats like 100 miles an hour like that is insanely impressive.
Yeah, it's tough to compare the way athletes from back then to where we're at now and like be impressed, but like just understand that like we just weren't as advanced skill wise as a sport back then.
And again, back then it was all GPP. Now everything's programmed, kind of bringing it back with like, we don't know what the test is, but we know what the test is.
Right.
Like you don't know what's going to come out of the hopper in the open, but you basically know the work capacity and the physical demands that are required to be successful in the open at this point.
You're not going to be surprised by anything really. Like I was surprised by wall walks, but like that is what it is. You're not going to be surprised by anything that they say or have you do at this point.
And we pretty much have a blueprint at this point, like at the games level, like, and at the semifinal level, like at this point, we know how to train for each one of those things. And like, you don't know exactly what's coming, but you know how to be prepared for it, but yeah. Bring it back to what we were saying, like if we're talking GPP or just people that just want to train and look good naked, that's why I think certain programmers, like I think Ryan Fisher does a really great job with that.
Just have fun with it, man. And know what your athletes want.
That's how I program too. Like I look at, when I was looking at those workouts, I was like, dude, this is 2010 and this workout at sectionals would kick my ass. Like it would crush me, man. It would crush me, and I do train to a degree. I'm like, I'm going to put some level of focus on like entertainment, variety, and just like shipping enjoyable. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's actually probably an excellent segue into what we kind of wanted to talk about today. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today, we got just a whole bunch of stuff on the docket. I just want to make sure we got a conversation in and just kind of want to talk about a couple things that I had on my mind. But Dunk, as of the airing of this episode, we will be about 24 hours away from real life in-person competition.
About freaking time, man. It feels like it's been forever.
I don't know, fucking webcam Not with cuts after every event, not with 5 people, like a real and shit, man. This first weekend is like it's like a miniature CrossFit Games.
I was gonna say it's like the big one, really.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much have Tia Claire
hitters.
Toomey facing against the 3, probably the heaviest hitting American females.
Who was it again?
So in the MAC, it's Carrie Pierce, Bethany Shadburn, not Bethany Shadburn, excuse me, Haley Adams, and
Danny Spiegel's at it, right?
No, not Danny Spiegel. Super strong chick. She was in the 19 games, final 10. Barnhart, right. Carrie Pierce, Haley Adams, and Tia Claire Toomey.
That is a pretty low compared to all the rest of them. That is a loaded roster.
Yeah, arguably the most loaded roster on the women's side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the depth is necessarily in that one. Are you looking at the roster right now?
I'm trying to find it. It's not exactly the easiest thing to find.
Because I want to say Brooke Wells is in that one too, but strong argument that you're sitting here looking at like, oh, this is a podium preview.
Yep.
I mean, you're like, oh, this
yeah, for sure.
Could be the top 3 or 4.
Well, we already know Tia is one of them. Like, but and then like I think Haley Adams is a podium finisher. I mean, you can make an argument for Amanda Barnhart. So yeah,
you can make an argument for Carrie Pierce. She was the fittest American woman last year.
Yeah, you could.
She just doesn't have very strong legs. And she's like an okay runner. Take that out of it. Let me put it this way: if we stop seeing 1 rep max front squats for the first time in 2 years, we're in good shape.
We're going to see at least 2 relatively strong workouts.
Yeah. I'm just saying specifically front squat.
Yeah, that gets her.
The last every year since 2019 has basically been 1 rep max front squats.
Man, I can't give her the credit. Like, say, I know she's a podium finisher or whatever, but like, I don't know. She's so small. She's not good on any of the cardio equipment. Like, she's not strong. I know she's so good at gymnastics. It's just I don't know.
Remind me again, for women that aren't great on the cardio equipment, how did Haley Adams do in that row wall ball quarterfinal workout?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Not well. I'll just let you.
you let me know on that one.
I don't remember the exact number, but I'll tell you it was not good.
I'm about to look it up.
Yeah, but that's just the women's field, man. The men's field is where it's at. I mean, that men's field is. It's like not. It's honestly, it's like not even fair. You're looking at. I mean, you could make 2 separate podiums out of other semifinals just out of the men competing this weekend.
I'm gonna look up the roster here.
I have the ones they released initially saved.
So women, we've got Haley Adams, Tia Claire Toomey, Brooke Wells is in it.
Yeah.
Christine Cole, Jessica Griffith, Amanda Barnhart, Fee Sagafi.
Mm-hmm.
That looks
don't rule out Olivia Sulek. She's another one of these team phenoms. She's going to make some noise. I'm curious to see how she does in live competition. I'm curious to see how a lot of these people in general do in live competition. Paige Henry's another one. This field is loaded, man.
It's been such a while since we've had like a legitimate like competition, not with like caveats to it,
Oh yeah. Now we get to the men's side. This is showtime, because my prediction is, so they're taking 5 men. Okay. My prediction is we're going to see 4 of the usual suspects make it.
Okay.
One person's going to drop the ball and someone's going to sneak in that we don't think will make it. There's going to be one big time athlete that's going to have to fight for his life in that last chance qualifier, which, by the way, last chance qualifier is awesome. I love that.
I like it. Yeah. All right. Let me read off the names of the guys. We got Travis Williams, Travis Mayer, Ben Smith, Adam Klink. I don't know if he needs to be in this list, but Justin Medeiros, Scott Panchek, and Samuel Quant, with a few other guys that are like Marquand Jones is there, Angelo DiCiccio.
Josh Woodhall has taken second in 2 different semifinal events, or whatever the sanctional events. And you got Christian Harris, multi-time games team athlete, and also a regionals individual athlete, also certifiable fucking stud. He's an animal. Matt Green, multi-time regionals athlete. Luke Parker, former Bachelor contestant and current Mayhem athlete, training down there with Rich in CrossFit in Cookeville. Zach Watts, typical high up there on the open leaderboard. This is a stacked field.
Yeah.
Stacked
it's
field.
gonna be a good one. It is basically a mini games, and it's like we're gonna kick it off with this one, and then have to go through some of the other ones that are kind of less exciting. But it is a good way to kick off the semifinal season.
Awesome. It's awesome. And my prediction is that 4 of those 5 spots will go to either Mayer, Panchik, Medeiros, Quant, Smith. We'll just say those 5. Like, you would instantly look at that and be like, okay, those are the 5 that are going to be in there.
But you know that there's somebody that we don't like. Somebody's going to sneak in there that is not quite as well known.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be like, first of all, you can't rule out Travis Williams. No, the guy's been at the games multiple times as an individual. He is just as capable, if not more capable, than Ben Smith of getting that top 5 spot. So he's going to make tons of noise, but I just see it coming. One of those guys is going to sneak in, man. One of those guys is going to sneak in the spot, and someone's going to drop the ball. And if you go back and look at like regionals leaderboards, because they tend to be so top heavy. So I was looking at this. Basically, to qualify, like back in the old regionals model, there's regions, if you took anything other than like top 8 in an event, you're out. Yeah. Because they're so top heavy, right? Like the same guys are all going to take the bottom 30 to 40, and the same dudes are all going to take 10 and up. And so it's like if Scott Panchek could just shit the bed on one event, it's like, bro, you're done. Or it's going to be very difficult. We'll say
right. There's just not a lot of room for error.
Right. There's not a lot of room for error, especially with a field that thick, man. So, but anyway, so we totally went off on a tangent there, which is fine. But the big argument that I've been hearing kind of go around, and from what I understand, there's a consensus on one side or the other on this, and I don't believe there is. And there's a big argument as to whether or not programming for these semifinal events should be standardized.
I think that they should be.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we got ourselves a podcast.
No, yeah, I think
100% think they should not be.
I understand why, like, they're not going to do it and why they shouldn't. Like, I'm not upset that they're not standardized, but we're all testing for the same thing here, to go to the same place. And if you're going to have a last chance qualifier, if you're going to have people that qualified to go to the last chance qualifier, which qualifies you to go to the games, you can't have different programming at different tournaments. Like, we can't take the 3rd place person from the African semifinal, but the 6th place person at the MAC finished markedly better than them. It's like the argument that like the regionals had when the South was getting like 4 people in, but they're losing every single workout.
I see what you're saying. That's a good point. I actually haven't heard anyone make that point in that way. So what you're saying is the guy that's going to qualify from the last chance qualifier out of Africa, the 4th place guy out of Africa, the Africa regional, probably wouldn't even make the top 10 in the MAC.
Correct.
But he's going to get in over an Adam Klink, say.
Yeah, but so if we standardized all the workouts,
you could just
have a leaderboard.
All of them.
Yeah. You could just have a leaderboard, and then the top the top ones that didn't qualify through that event could go to the last chance qualifier, not just because I think they're doing it. It's like the 2 places after like the qualifying spots or something.
It's 3 depending on which one you're in.
Okay.
It's 3 depending on which one you're in.
Like I said, I don't want the 4th place person from Africa who wouldn't place top 10, top 15 at some of these big boy semifinals to be able to take a spot from somebody that could theoretically like make some noise at the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't really thought of that, to be honest with you. Because the argument I keep hearing from people is like, well, we need to make sure the test is valid. Oh, what's the validity of the test? Oh, is the test universal? Like, I don't give a shit about that. They're all hard.
Yeah, they're gonna be valid. They've gotten to the point now where we know how to program for these things. Like,
right. And it's like, it's not going to be like CrossFit is overseeing it. They're all going to be generally the same test. It's just plug and play different movements and different rep schemes. Like the time domains are going to be the same. The couplets, triplets, monostructural, 1 rep maxes, they're going to be in all of them. Right. So the test is going to be universal. It's just a matter of just which combinations are you wanting to play with. You know, Castro is not going to allow them. I honestly don't think Castro would allow them a whole lot of flexibility as that goes.
I feel like they've had to have the idea. They've got a list of things like we need our endurance workout, we need our strength workout. They got to have like a list of boxes they've got to check when it comes to programming for all these.
Oh, Castro already said that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like exactly that. Like, you need to have a chipper that's going to take over 15 minutes. You need to have a sub 4-minute couplet. You need to have a sub 9-minute couplet. You need to have an 8 to 12-minute triplet. Like, you need to have a max lift, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to let them get too cute. And with this sanctionals, regionals, semifinals, like they've all been basically the same thing in terms of the test.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like a less variety version of the games. It's like, or like super difficult affiliate workouts is essentially what they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And from the program we've already seen, that's continuing to be the case.
My next question is each semifinal event a 3-day event or a 2-day event or whatever?
I think it's pretty much, again, that regionals model of like, you're going to see 2 to 3 events a day for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
From what I understand, I remember looking at the schedule. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case, because for me, I'm all about the variety now. Because here again, it's interesting the way this conversation is going today, because we were speaking about that, like, you know, entertainment matters. Mm-hmm. When you're trying to grow and build a sport, you know what I mean? And there's like lots of CrossFit nerds out there that want to like break, and that's fine. But like the regionals was a good model for like a linear season, but they were fucking boring, man. They were not entertaining. Like I heard Sevon say once, like the only people that go to regionals are the moms of the athletes. Like the moms, girlfriends and boyfriends of the athletes are the only ones there.
He's not wrong.
He's probably not.
They're not like, I would say they're not super high selling events.
I think outside of a handful of, you know, super nerds like me, it was pretty much the athletes' family, close friends, and like their gym. Like they had people from their gym go.
Yeah.
You know,
but watching people work out is not exciting in itself. And if you're going to make a workout not exciting for like the people that are actually doing it, you know how it's going to be for the people that are watching it. So you got to do your best to make it kind of a spectacle, even though that's not doing that isn't the way you would train to become the fittest, but you train that way all year long so you can do those workouts faster than everybody else.
We said in the podcast before, I'm like, I don't know how much I actually enjoy watching CrossFit competition as much as I enjoy the theater and narrative of it.
Yeah.
That being said, there are some events that are honestly exciting to watch.
Yeah.
You know? Especially at that regionals level. I would say the regionals and the semifinal level, to a degree, probably more entertaining than the games. I think there's a strong argument there.
Yeah.
For one, we're talking, this is the end all be all. They're only taking 5 people or taking 8 people now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't make that cut, you're done, son. And so there's so much more on the line. And 2, at that regionals level, how many, I keep calling it regionals, whatever, the interchangeable word for all of them, right?
Yeah.
How many events have we seen at that level that take longer than 16 minutes? But we've seen, I would say the overwhelming majority of them are under 12 minutes, at least for people with scores that matter.
I feel like they usually have one that's a longer one.
They'll have one and they'll have like a long chipper, later on, like 17, 18 in there. Yeah. I can't really talk about 19 because that was so all over the place. And then same with kind of 20, because they just totally went Wild West on them and you could do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end there, like they had that 7, I think it was in 17, they did that. One was like the long run and like the mini Murph. Remember that one?
Didn't they do like a 333 inspired one?
They did just 333.
Okay.
I think that was in 2016. So there's one, but at the games, man, we were just talking about our 2015 rewatch. The first 3 events all take the first 2 of the first 3 events are 45+ minute workouts.
Yeah.
And those are like in the beginning, Yeah,
but you can't have, like, the regionals is supposed to be a smaller version of the games. You can't go and be like, all right, now we're gonna start this weekend off with 2 45-minute workouts that are they're impossible to program in an entertaining way.
Yeah. And then now just
especially at regionals and like these semifinal events where they're probably kind of experimenting with announcers. You got a bad announcer in a 40-minute workout. That might
actually be a better point than the one you made about the fucking programming.
So.
Oh yeah, this is what we want. We want to listen to Tanya Wagner talk during a double 333 event for an hour and a half.
So like, unless somebody can like entertain me just by talking, which is not an easy thing to do. That is a true skill.
Yeah, listen, just give me Chase Ingram all day. I love listening to Chase Ingram when he kind of accidentally says like what he's thinking.
I think they should experiment with like, all right, let's go pay John Cena and Scott Van Pelt a lot of money and just be like, guys, just do minimal research, just come in and just be very entertaining.
No, they did that early on, remember, and it was a train wreck.
Well, I mean, these guys are professionals. I feel like they'll at least know names.
Yeah, Van Pelt would be. I can't. Van Pelt, or who's the other funny guy on ESPN? The main Kenny Mayne.
Kenny Mayne. Yeah.
Let's listen to Kenny Mayne talk about CrossFit for 6 hours. Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible. But like, what was it? Was it the 2011 games? They did they did Killer Cage, I think, and that was one with the monkey bars.
Uh-huh.
And like Spencer Hendel did like really well, like won his heat or something like that. I think it was Killer Cage. And he gets to the sidelines and they're like, hey, you're really good at monkey bars. Show us your best monkey face.
Oh, for God's sake.
And Spencer Handel's like, what the fuck? I'm a professional athlete.
Get out of my face.
Like imagine like at like halftime. Like imagine like halftime at a Bucks game, they're like, Tom Brady, show us your best pirate voice.
Oh God. I didn't see that. Oh, that's funny.
Well, you'll see it. Watch it. You got to do it on the 2011 rewatch. It's so cringy, man.
Is that the year that ESPN like kind of took over like the highlights and stuff of that?
That was when they first got the deal with ESPN, and I don't think they knew what they had. They were just like, hey man, like you covered rock climbing once. That's kind of like this. Go cover the CrossFit Games.
The CrossFit Games was the perfect sport for ESPN too.
Yes.
It's like what MTV does with ridiculousness. They could just run it all day.
Right.
People can just kind of come back and forth to it. It's like,
right.
Like you don't need to pay attention or watch all day, but it's just going to be on all day long.
Yeah. Like we're going to take the 9th episode of SportsCenter on ESPN2. We're just going to move that over to ESPN News, and we're going to put CrossFit Games on for 8 hours.
Dude, they need to partner with like somebody. So like the dead time in between events, they can like fill with like some actual entertaining stuff. like they do, like, you know what how they do it, like at Rogue they had like the little obstacle course thing where like people were just going through that. Like I feel like they could find some entertaining things to fill some of the dead time. That
from what I understand is like when you're at the live event, they fill it really well.
Okay.
From what I've been told.
But can they fill that on TV? Like I don't feel like they do. I'm sure during the live events while you're there, it's fine. But like
that's like an interesting thing to think about, right? Because like that's an interesting point, because there is a lot of dead time in CrossFit events, and there's a lot of, like, we've rented this on a rewatch. Like there's a lot of I feel like this is more so in the women's field, unfortunately, just from my objective observation of watching every CrossFit Games multiple times. Like a lot of times those first like 2 heats are irrelevant.
I think they could come up with something like I just throw this hypothetical out there, like let's partner with like Wipeout, and then like have the screen in screen kind of action where it's like, you know how soccer does their commercials, like they'll have the game on, but then they'll just have like a smaller screen off to the side running their ads, and they'll just turn the sound down. It's like, all right, pick which screen you want to like blow up, and then just have this one on the side, so like, you know, when like the top heats are going to go, but like you can watch something that is actually entertaining while you're waiting.
See, I was thinking about this before, a while back, and I'm like, I wish Amazon would just buy the media rights to CrossFit.
So everything else. So
yeah, I wish Amazon would just buy those media rights, and first of all, everyone gets paid, everyone's happy now. CrossFit gets the media deal. Now it can turn into the NBA. It can turn into the NFL. Like they get the big media deal. That's how these sports operate, right? That's how they do all the fun shit that we want to see them do. They can't do it without the money.
Right.
Side note, but if you partner with Amazon, what we can do is I can select men's individual event 4. I can watch that. Okay, they're on downtime. Okay, I'm going to go over to team event 6. And I'm going to watch that while they're in downtime. Okay, they're at a break. I can go over to teens 15 to 16 event 4 and watch that. You know what I'm saying? And you can just watch it a la carte like that.
Yeah, because they're all running at the same time, which is crazy.
They're all over. They're all over the place. So like, I think that's probably the best way for it to go. I don't know if the market's necessarily there, but if they're showing the college cornhole championships on ESPN too,
they're showing some weird shit now.
you know, if spike ball is on there, and like, although that's a pretty cool sport to watch. I don't see any reason why people wouldn't be interested in watching a 60-year-old do handstand push-ups.
Dude, I saw pickleball on the TV the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is going on?
So that I think would be amazing. We just need to get someone that works high up at Amazon to get really into CrossFit and make that happen.
Yeah. Amazon just needs to buy all sports entertainment and just find a way to perfect it. It's like,
it's great for Thursday Night Football.
I just want them to buy Sunday Ticket from DirecTV.
Oh. We'll save that for our soon-to-come NFL podcast.
That is all I want in life.
Yeah, man. So no, that was a good conversation. I like where we went with that. That was kind of cool. So you mentioned something to kind of bring up, that the prize purses.
I think the prize purses are pretty weak. I think they're weak based off of what they're asking like the athletes to do for the semifinals. I don't necessarily disagree with the prize purses. I don't think they need to be very large. I don't know if you need to give the same prize purses for the top 5 spots in the men's, females, and teams, but like they're asking these athletes to like fund their trip back home when half of them live like all the way across the world. It's like $5,000 for first place is a little on the cheap side, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, if it's possible for them to like go bigger than that, because you know they're going to have a big purse for the CrossFit Games. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they could offer more money, especially in this first year. But I know a lot of people, like I saw Travis Williams was very upset when they released the prize purse for each event or for each semifinal. Yeah, but I mean, he's got a point. Like, it's like, oh, let's train these people need to train full time all year round to be legitimate. and then like the step before the big show, like if you win the whole thing, you get $5,000.
Yeah.
But
There's a catch-all argument to all that though, man. And there's a catch-all argument to all that. Generate revenue, get revenue.
Oh, there's a direct comparison in another sport that we can talk about.
Say it. Don't play it safe. Say it.
The NBA and the WNBA, man. It's the people always complain about the WNBA players not making money, but nobody watches those games.
Yeah. Despite ESPN's best interest to try to get people to get people interested in it. It's just
I love when the NBA players like, we need to pay WNBA players. I'm like, all right, with what money? Like, where's the money coming from?
The NBA subsidizes it. So if we can get Spartan Race to subsidize the CrossFit games,
yeah, we'll be in good shape. So yeah, the WNBA and the NBA need to merge, and then NBA players get their paychecks cut in half because they got to pay the WNBA players who no one's watching. We'll see how supportive they are then.
Right. No, I 100% agree with you. So that's the point. It's like Travis Williams is probably right. You know, they should at least maybe pay top 10 and go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,000, right? But it's like, dude, you got to generate the revenue. And from what I've gathered, there's no paywall on these events for the live stream. Right. Remember back in that the sanctionals model, like to watch a lot of these events, they were trying to make it so there was a paywall, or you had to do the membership type of thing.
You had to pay to watch Wadapalooza.
Right.
Like a decent amount of money.
And you know what? I honestly don't have an issue with that. I don't have a problem with that. But it's like let's consolidate it all into one thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I will pay you $20 or $30 or whatever for me to have access to everything.
Or you could just pay $60 for the Open as opposed to 20, and then have access to all things CrossFit for the entire year.
Sure. Whatever. Like, I have no problem. Like, I get my money's worth out of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I have no problem supporting that. You know what I mean? So yeah, use my CFID and I get access to however you want to do it. You know, I log into my CFID or something like that. You know what I mean? I would have no issue with that.
The way they need to make money, at least right now, they need to find a way to partner with YouTube, because CrossFit is I will say till I can't say it anymore, is a YouTube sport. That's where everybody watches CrossFit, and people get paid a lot of money for the amount of views that you get on YouTube, even though you don't have to pay for it.
I'd be curious to know what that money looks like and what the viewership looks like and how that ratio operates.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
the amount of ads CrossFit could run over the course of a 6-hour stream on YouTube, that's where people make their money on YouTube, is through those ads.
Yes.
But and you could throw 100 ads in for each day that they've got these things streaming.
The games is super ad sales driven too, right? They have so many corporate partnerships.
Yeah.
You know, and it's always like kind of frustrating to kind of look back, on like the partnerships that they had in the past that really, really could have been successful and lucrative for them, that just kind of got pissed out the window. What is it? HST, that's, you know, Silicon Valley company they partnered with, and then Glassman shit all over them.
Yeah, Glassman really dropped the ball on some of the things that he did towards the end.
It seems like there's no shortage of major auto brand partnerships that have been interested. They had Porsche involved. They've had Ford involved. Like, that's difference making money right there, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I am all for paying the athletes. I'm so 100% for it, but it's like, let me put it to you this way. If there's a difference in paying these athletes, is the difference between that and resources to assist affiliates, it's not even a thought to me.
Right.
Not even a thought. Because the real growth and the real way to help people make a difference in the world is going to be what they're doing at that affiliate level. And we need to do stuff to help keep their heads above water with all the nonsense that's happened in the last year.
One of the problems is like they can't market any of their like athletes because they don't have like a jersey system or anything like that. Like you couldn't go buy like a Frazier jersey, or you couldn't go buy like a Frazier
Could
shirt
they?
from
They
CrossFit.
had
But you
that. They
can,
were selling the T-shirts and shit.
but it's a T-shirt, man. Like think about how much, but like just on NFL jerseys, like that shit sells wild. I'm not saying like a CrossFit jersey like that's going to sell like that, but like you could do things like all these athletes are sponsored by like Nike and Reebok and whoever, and then Nike gets whatever you pay through Nike, you don't pay through CrossFit.
Well, two things there. You got to be careful because the UFC ran into that, where the UFC is like, now we are partnered with Reebok and nobody can wear anything else. And that really hurt a lot of those top fighters' ways of making money.
Yeah.
You know, selling that ad space on their trunks, that really hurt their ability to make a living. So it's like, yeah, maybe tread lightly with some of that, or try to at least handle it well, maybe better than the UFC did. But two, it's like, again, it's still a sport in its infantile stages.
Yeah, it's super
early. And it's like, professional baseball started in the United States in like the 1860s, 1870s. And then, so we've been the sport of CrossFit's been around for what, 15 years, 2007 to 2021. So what, 15 years. So we're still in the stage of like the 19th century for baseball. At this point in football, the forward pass hadn't been invented yet, and the field was still painted like a grid.
Problem is, the sport came along the same time as UFC, and UFC just blew up. Like blew up.
UFC came around in the 90s. They paid their dues before they exploded. They were still a weird, obscure sport for like a long time.
That's true.
And then they exploded. So we're still in like the infantile stages of it, And one thing that I vehemently disagree with tons of people that say this, I could have put this on my Quit Whining podcast that we did last week, is when people come out and say CrossFit doesn't give its athletes the platform to build a successful brand. I think that is such bullshit. I think it's such bullshit.
I agree.
And I'm so fucking sick and tired of hearing, like, again, I was praising Ryan Fisher, and then he goes on Sevon's podcast and says just that. And I'm like, you are so full of shit, man. like CrossFit does so much to highlight those athletes, man. So much. And there's so many people out there doing so much legwork for those CrossFit athletes for not that much money to build their brand, a la Morning Chalk Up. What Morning Chalk Up is doing to build a brand for these athletes, but so I'm stay-at-home dad mode right now. So a significant part of my day is spent sitting on the couch, feeding, holding, soothing, changing my son. And I've run out of content that I care about. So I've just been watching every video CrossFit's like ever made. And do you know how many behind the scenes videos, a day of training with Ben Smith, Josh Bridges tackles the workout from September 3rd, 2011. We're going to watch, like, they put so much out there to highlight those athletes for not that, and for, I think, very little financial incentive.
Yeah. Cause and they did a lot of that early on too. So that was that stopped when the media team kind of stopped at CrossFit. So like
2018.
back then it was definitely not like the YouTube stuff was not the way it is now. As far as making money and all that stuff, it wasn't as big of a platform. So like they definitely weren't making the money that they were spending on like trying to highlight the athletes.
Yeah. And those people out, Heber Cannon, Marcin Sawyers, Sevon Matosin, those guys did I was trying to think of it. Ian Wittenberger, like, they did unbelievable jobs of creating these narratives of these athletes that we fell in love with. You know what I mean? And what they do during the games and everything, like the fact that you're talking about such a fringe sport, no matter what we say, is an incredibly fringe sport. And the fact that there are people that have very loose affiliate, like they just work out in CrossFit gyms, and they'll sit here and say like, oh yeah, I love Ben Smith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like if we're, I would be curious to know how many people are into drone racing and are like, oh man, I love such and such. He's so cool. You know what I mean? Like, are people involved in those sports getting the same level of assistance in building their brand across? I would think no.
I wouldn't think that either. And I think like of all like the fitness sports, CrossFit's probably the most popular at this point.
I would say like
that and I know strongman's up there. Like powerlifting and like Olympic lifting is that they're not on.
So it depends on what you meant by popularity. I would say in terms of voracious consumption of the sport at the professional level, I think pretty much it would have to be CrossFit.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about people that follow the sport and can tell you about like the top people, CrossFit's up there, and I'd probably say bodybuilding.
Oh yeah.
Like bodybuilding.
I always forget like bodybuilding is like a sport.
Right. Because it's like what I'm sitting here thinking is if we were to go to 10 CrossFit gyms and ask 10 people in each of those CrossFit gyms, you have 5 minutes to name me every currently active CrossFit athlete you can possibly think of. What do you think they're going to name as a random poll?
Like
5,
how many?
6? Yeah, how many? 5 or 6?
Less than 10.
Fraser Froning. One of those Icelandic girls.
Yeah.
I think there's another Icelandic girl.
And probably one more.
Yeah, and then like one more, like, yeah. You know what I mean? And
but
I would say most people that are into bodybuilding, if you were to do like a general, like they could probably tell you the same thing. Instagram probably changed that, but
probably. But even so, like I feel like bodybuilding was a much more popular sport, like what 80s, 90s.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I've been out of that. You're probably right, but I've been out of that world for so long now I couldn't tell you. And like I said, Instagram probably changed all of it because now everybody just has people they follow on Instagram that they just like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I guess that kind of goes two ways, right? Like there's people that are into bodybuilding that follow CrossFitters. You know, people tell me all the time, like, oh yeah, I follow, like Camille LeBlanc Bazinet, and I do her workouts she posts, you know?
That's because like CrossFitters are now like trying to melt both things together. It's like let's do some bodybuilding with a little bit of CrossFit.
Yeah.
Voila.
See last podcast we did.
Yeah.
But in terms of like popularity, I heard somebody tell me once. I heard one time someone say that if you add weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, and CrossFit all together, they would still pale in comparison in terms of participation to the endurance community.
I feel like that.
Now it's a little weird because there's a little bit of mixture there. Like I know a lot of people that are into endurance sports that also do CrossFit.
Yeah.
CrossFit,
once again, it's a good mix of everything. So it's like endurance athletes are doing CrossFit to be good at their endurance sport.
Right. But I've heard running alone would be the biggest of all of that. Running alone is the biggest of anything people are involved in terms of like fit sports.
Running is the easiest one to get into. You don't have to pay anything.
Yeah, you just run.
Buy a pair of shoes and like some headphones, and you're good to go.
Yeah. You don't even have to be good at it to compete at it.
No, yeah, you can just like I could go do a marathon right now. Like I wouldn't finish well, but like I did it. So
Right.
So
yeah, I know tons of people that are not in great shape. I've trained many that do marathons. So yeah, I've heard that endurance community is just. I mean, I guess we'll think about it like this. All you really need to think about is show up to a local CrossFit competition.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in the door. 100 athletes?
Sure.
100 athletes?
A good competition, 100 athletes, yeah.
Right. If it's a solid local competition, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a triathlon this weekend. Yeah, right. There's thousands, right? Like they do triathlons or like half marathons or endurance swims and stuff like, and they have to go in like heats of letting people like go out and they go by age group and all that, so yeah, I guess that's really all you have to really take into consideration there.
talk about a boring sport. Can't get any more boring than that. So they're doing something right.
Yeah, right. I mean, we how many swim runs have we watched at the fucking CrossFit games? We're just like, God, shoot me. I'm so okay. The Australians win. Can we just like chalk this up and move on to the next?
That's like the Olympic lifting at the Olympics. It's like we already know who's gonna win. We don't even need to watch.
Right. Yeah, that's like I have a kind of a weird perspective on that, where I'm just like, there needs to be some sort of strength event at the Olympics, but weightlifting is a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful modality. I could talk all day about how wonderful I think Olympic weightlifting is and good for people, and people should be doing it. But in terms of a sport to watch, oh my God, dude, I'd rather watch masters swimming.
Well, yeah. On top of that, it's like it's super boring. No one knows what the rules are. Like why is that lift two white lights and this one's 3 or this one failed?
Right.
So,
and then like you said, you pretty much know who's going to win going into it.
Yeah, unless there's and even like you know who's going to win, and even if he messes up, you already know who's going to place from 2nd to 10th behind him.
That's why we've probably had this conversation before, but I look at stuff like that and I honestly don't call it a sport. If nothing changes on game day in terms of what you did in training to game day, and you have no impact on what happens in the event whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like you can have the best day of your life and you have out of body experience in terms of your production, and you still have no shot to win. Like to me, I don't call that I wouldn't call it. I think that needs to have like a separate sort of distinction.
Yeah. I agree.
The stuff that it's like certain swimming events, pole vaulting, long jumping, like the 400 shot put, like stuff like that. I'm like, that's like a different thing. It's like a different thing.
I agree with you. Yeah. Cause it's like, and then for the weightlifting, it's like most people go in, like they know the numbers that they're going to hit weeks in advance. So it's like what's the point? Like you've listed the numbers you're going to hit. Even if you feel good at the second lift, you're not going to go higher than you planned 3 weeks ago for your final lift.
Yeah, and I personally just look at someone who just throws discus, and you compare that to a college basketball player, and I'm like, we're going to put these two things in the same category? Like we're just going to call both of these sports?
At least discus, though, it's like, oh man, that guy threw 92 feet or whatever long a throw is, and it's like, all right, I got to really ramp up to try and get this one to like past his.
I mean, fair enough, but it's like it doesn't matter if you and I are competing in the javelin, it doesn't matter what I do. I have no say in what you do.
It's true.
At all. I can't impact that because the training for it like is the sport,
But you can't impact anything that another CrossFitter does right next to you.
Oh, CrossFit is the most beautiful sport. One of the more beautiful sports out there for so many reasons. Because the athletic demand, like you can throw anything at these people. The training for the sport to a degree is the sport, but you have no idea what's going to come out. If Dave Castro wanted to, he could if he wanted to, he could be like, okay, we're going to have a tennis tournament because we're trying to determine the fittest person on it. It would be a bad event, but he could say that if he wanted to.
Yeah. Did they try like something weird where they like put people against each other one-on-one prior, like in years past?
Unless you're talking about the Tahoe Throwdown, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I remembered something, but I have no actual memory of it.
You're probably thinking of the Tahoe Throwdown.
Maybe.
I just finished watching that video, actually. So great. I probably see that video 10 times. It's so awesome.
I remember
I met Dave Lipson and fanboyed like a little, like it was sad. And he's like, I don't give a shit about you watching a video that came out in 2010. Get away from me.
That like 14 other people have seen. I just remember you were like, we were hanging out and you're like, yeah, dude, this is a great video of CrossFit, because it was like when all the documentaries started coming out and everybody was kind of getting into it. And then we spent 30 minutes trying to find the damn video.
Dude, I can tell you, we'll part on this because I told you I've been going down a very deep, dark road of CrossFit videos lately. Because I wrote a couple things down for you I wanted to mention. So I watched a documentary, the old Sisu doc on Miko Salo.
Okay.
I'd actually never seen it before.
I think
But
I've
in the
seen, like,
documentary,
beginning.
what's that?
I think I've seen the beginning of it. I think
It's pretty good. In the documentary, Miko tells a story about how he went to the doctor and his resting heart rate was 30.
that's not possible.
Dude, he said that his doctor was like, you need to go to the hospital. And he's like, no, it's just like that, man.
That is not possible.
He's like, I'm just super fit. I sleep really well. I'm pretty low stress.
That is not physically. I don't believe him. It's like Fraser would say something stupid like that too. It's like, oh yeah, I saw it one day, like it got that low. So that's my resting heart rate now.
Dude, I'm just saying, he said he went to the doctor. Doctor takes his heart rate, says you need to go to the hospital immediately because your heart rate is 30. I was like, what? That's like a bear in hibernation.
I was gonna say, like, he could pass as a dead person if he really tried to.
Yeah, man. I was like, so it's a cool doc. And then I was like cleaning around the house, and it ended up on Josh Bridges' YouTube channel. And then all his YouTube channel videos are like 10, 15-minute videos or whatever. And he takes a crack at that bike repeater workout from the 2020 games. Remember that one?
Yeah.
So the workout was 10 rounds, 440-meter bike ride, and 1 legless rope climb. And he did it on a C2 bike erg, but he did 500 meters and then did a legless rope climb. All I'm going to say is he beat Fraser's score by no less than 2 minutes.
Okay, but riding on a C2
it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. You know, because you're talking like on a if you're on an actual bicycle, you have to mount the bicycle, you have to get it rolling, you got to get it started. They're riding on fucking grass. I don't know why they're so obsessed with that. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just saying.
You put Bridges out there on that workout, and he loses probably by 2 minutes. So,
but he was going 60 meters further.
It doesn't. No, I don't. I still think Fraser wins by a solid minute.
I was incredibly amused. That's all I'm saying. It just provides more illegitimacy to the 2020 Fittest Man on Earth title.
That does to you? That
That among many other things. Yeah, man. But I would say check out that. No, finish your 2015 rewatch.
I'm working through it. I'm getting through it. I'm about 3/4 of the way done.
Yeah. But I think that ought to do it for today. So you have any last parting words?
No, man, I'm good.
We didn't get into the Mac programming. If anybody wants to know what they're doing, check it out on their Instagram page. It's all right there. All right, buddy. Thanks for jumping on with me today. Any of you listening out there, thank you for jumping on and listening to us today. Check out our Facebook page. Check out our Instagram page. Give us a like. Give us a follow. And don't forget to hit your jerk work. Tag us in it. I know we didn't give one today, but we've done it in the past. Okay, nailed the close. See you, Dunk.
Later.